Well, hello everyone. This is Dusty in 8DKH, and I just wanted to attempt to film a video on attempting to make a contact, or maybe a couple or a few contacts on 15 meters today with my ham stick. That is a 15-meter ham stick on my car, and let's see how well we do. I want to try with QRP, and again, QRP is low power, and we'll see how far or how many contacts we can make. All right, guys, I'm in my car now, and as you can see, I've got my 1957 Vibraplex Champion bug. As I noted in a previous video, there's a little bit more wear and tear on this one. It's a couple of years older than the one that I have in the house. You can see some nicks and stuff where some paint's chipped off and stuff over the years, but it still works just as good. This is the first bug I've ever had, and yeah, so we'll give it a shot. Here's my radio. I have it turned on. This is 15 meters. I've got it on 21.050 megahertz, and that is in the CW portion of the 15 meter band. I had my preamp turned on at first, but I had a pretty high noise floor with the preamp, so I turned it off, which the preamp boosts the signal a little bit. It makes it a little bit more sensitive to weaker signals out there. But so I turned it off just to try to lower the noise floor. Okay, so I'm going to reposition the camera to where you can see me attempting to make contacts, but I can't do it from this angle while I'm operating, so I'll go ahead and make that change now. All right, guys, we're in the car now. Crappy phone angle at the moment. I apologize for that, but I wish I had another place or another mount to put my phone to have a better angle of viewing the radio and the key, but this is the best I've got right now. As you can see, I've got my key set up here, and my radio is still on the same frequency, 21.050 megahertz, and I've already have it tuned to that frequency, and I'm on low power, which is 5 watts. And right now I don't hear anything on that frequency, but I'm still gonna send a message over that frequency before I do anything else, and that message is simply QRL, and that is a Q code in amateur radio, which means is the frequency in use. So even though I don't hear anything right now, it doesn't necessarily mean that somebody else may not be monitoring somebody else talking. Who knows? So I'm going to call QRL a couple of times and then a question mark. If I don't hear anything back, then the frequency is cleared for me to operate on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I've got my key set to about 23 words a minute or so, give or take, and we're going to go ahead and give this a shot. So I just sent a QRL question mark. I'm not hearing any response. Let me turn the radio up a little bit. A little bit of static there. Okay, I'm not hearing anything, so I'm going to go ahead and send out CQ, which means calling any station. I'm going to send that a few times, and then I'm going to send my call sign a few times, and we'll see if somebody comes back. I may have to send this a few times repetitively to see if somebody happens to come across that frequency at that point. So let's give her a shot. So I sent CQ 3 or 4 times, and then I sent the letters DE, which mean from, basically, or, you know, calling from. And then I sent my call sign, N8DKH, 2 or 3 times. So I'm not hearing anybody respond, so we'll try it again. Usually it takes a while to make a contact on a frequency when you're not spotted on an internet website that CW operators monitor. And once upon a time, there was no such thing as the internet, so this was pretty much all you had. And the reason I chose this particular frequency is because it is a more common frequency that is monitored by CW operators. So I'll try it a couple more times and see if we get anybody. Try it again. And if you notice, whenever I send, I have to use my two fingers to hold the plate of the key down, because there's no like I showed in a previous video, in my home on my desk where I have my other bug, I have a little grip cloth on the desk that helps it to not move whenever I send. But this is a towel, so it's not quite as grippy, and so I hold my two fingers down to help hold it in place as I'm sending. So not hearing anything yet, so let's try it again. Okay, I'm not hearing anything on QRP, so I'm going to bump my power up a little bit. Right now I'm on 5 watts, so I'm going to bump it to 20 watts, which is 4 times the amount of power I was using. And let's see if that makes any difference. I wish I could pull up the Reverse Beacon Network website, which I'll show you in a later video. Again, it's called Reverse Beacon Network. It's a website that actually has a map of the world on it, and there are numerous, what they call spotters, numerous spotters all over the country and all over the world. And spotters are operators who monitor the frequencies, and if they hear somebody calling CQ and then they give out their call sign, what they'll do is they'll spot you on that website, and you can see your location, in this case my location, and I can see the spotter's location who spotted me. And then you can see there'll be a line that connects my location to their location, and you can see the distance that my signal had carried. And it'll also list, the strength of the signal and your speed that you're using and all that, plus the call sign of the spotter. But I can't pull that up right now, obviously, in the vehicle, but in a later video, when I'm at my desk with my computer beside me, I'll show you how that works. It's really, really cool. All right, one more time on 20 watts. Let's see if we got anything. my home antenna is not resonant on 15 meters, and I can barely get it tuned to the upper portion of the band, the CW portion of the band. So 15 meters is not very practical in my home right now, just with the way the antenna is cut. It works great on every other band, all other bands. I can tune to any other band except for 15 meters. I can get it down to an SWR of 1.5 on 21.180 megahertz, which is the upper portion of the band. But most people operate down on the lower portion of the band, which where I'm at now. And my ham stick, it tunes right to it. So, all right, let's try 50 watts. So now I'm 10 times the power that I was using initially. Initially, I was using 5 watts, and now I'm up to 50. So let's see if we can get anybody to hear us now. And really, 50 watts, I mean, in my experience with CW especially, 50 watts is plenty. I mean, it'll get you around the world easily, depending on what band you're on. 15 meters is a band that is capable of DX, which DX in amateur radio language means long distance communication outside of your home country. And I've made contacts on 15 meters all over the world in the past. So 50 watts is really all you need. Some people, they'll use 100 watts, or some people have what they call an amplifier, which basically is it's another piece of equipment that you can purchase that you can connect to your radio and boost your power levels by I mean, enormous amounts of power. Like, it could boost your power all the way up to 1500 watts. And that's a lot of power. I, however, have learned over the years that you don't require that much power for CW, even when the solar conditions are not very good. You really don't need that much power for the most part. 50 watts generally does okay. And even 5 watts QRP you can make contacts with. So I don't very often go above 50 watts. Sometimes I'll boost it up to 80 just for kicks, but I usually don't go to 100 unless someone's really having a hard time hearing me for whatever reason. But that's not very common with CW. So all right, that was 50 watts. I did not get a response, so I'm going to boost it to 80 watts. All right, now I'm at 80 watts. Let's see if somebody hears us. And again, we have the disadvantage of not being spotted on any internet websites or anything. So the likelihood of making a contact is slim because of that. Okay, no response on 80. So I'm going to bump it up to, this radio will do a maximum of 100 watts. So I'm going to knock it all the way up to 100 watts. Let's see if somebody comes back to us now. Okay. Not hearing any response, even on 100 watts, which I very seldom use. So, real quick, I'm going to turn the dial of the frequency of the frequency, and I'm going to just scroll down through the band a little bit and see if I hear somebody else. Okay. I just scrolled down to 21.037 megahertz. There's 36. They're probably somewhere around 21.035.5 megahertz is my guess. It's obvious that they're in conversation with somebody else, so I'm not going to try to interfere. I'm going to move around the band a little bit, see what I can hear. That's just interference from other sources of power. Alright, I'm moving through the entire portion, CW portion of the 15 meter band, and I'm not really hearing anything. So there may not be very many people on this band today. That's why we're not getting a response. I'm going back down to, well, I don't hear them anymore, that station we did hear. Okay, I'm not hearing anything on the entire band, so I would say the band is, I think the conditions are good today, but at this time of the day, I don't think there's anybody on the band for whatever reason, so, or at least we're not hearing anybody. So, we're 15 minutes into this video. I'm going to just cut it at that, and we made an attempt. It didn't work out this time, but the radio works, the key works, the tuner works. It was tuned down to where we was not getting any power reflected back to the radio, and our power is definitely getting out. So we just didn't get a response today. So next time maybe I'll try to do or make a few contacts on another band in my home at my desk, and maybe we'll have some better luck. So 73s, everybody. Thank you for watching, and until next time.